because of that. So I don't really recommend that. Okay. So hello gamers, and welcome back to another video. A lot of people want to know how to snipe in this game, and as somebody who has probably, between all my snipers, at least like 6k kills probably, usually about 300 to 400 on nearly everyone in the game. So today I wanted to give the ultimate guide on sniping in Phantom Forces. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're new, but yeah, let's just get into it. The first thing you should probably know about sniping is attachments and setups. The first thing is optics, and this should probably just be your default scope, the iron sights or a coyote sight or pillad or something like that. But please do not run like an AMT Terminator. Basically every iron sight in the entire game, most of these have like no zoom, and a lot of the red dot sights because they don't really help you that much. And you could use a scope, but like a lot of these scopes are not really the greatest. Like PSO is M145 is meh, and usually your default scope will do you pretty well. Barrel's actually pretty simple. If you have something called the heavy barrel, use it, unless you don't really like your gun having a little bit worse handling. And if your gun has a one shot to the torso and you want to have a little bit better handling, but worse velocity, penetration, and overall range, then you could run the light barrel. Overall, I do recommend the heavy barrel between the two. However, a lot of the sniper rifles do not have either of those, so what I would recommend is either a suppressor or a muzzle brake. Default suppressor does not reduce range, it doesn't reduce damage, and it doesn't reduce velocity. So that's why I do recommend the default suppressor and no other suppressor, not the muffler, not the oil filter. And if you have a suppressor, as you can hear, it's not very loud. If you're using a muffler, it won't actually hide you on the radar as well. So what you're going to want to do is run a suppressor for maximum efficiency. If you're using a semi-auto sniper rifle like the SVU or the SVDS, you can also use muzzle brake, and that will lower your recoil. However, on a bolt action where it really doesn't matter at all, you're going to want to use a suppressor. And of course, you have guns like the AWS that have a default suppressor, so you don't really need a barrel attachment because you can't even run one. Next up, you have accessories and grips. If you don't want any upsides or downsides, use a green laser, but I guess any laser would do. And if you want better handling, use the skeleton grip. But if you want to have better recoil, I guess you could use stubby grip, but don't really use that. Sideways grip will give you an alt aim, which will basically do this, so you can aim down the side of your gun in order to snipe in close range. I don't really recommend that one too much, but if you really wanted that alt aim, then you could run the sideways grip. Other, I do recommend a laser. Any laser would do. You could use a canted, but I don't really recommend that. And a remove stock or a marksman kit or straight pull bolt. Marksman kit basically will slow your RPM, but you don't have to aim out every time you bolt, which is pretty nice. Some of them basically already have that kind of not having to aim out. If you run the iron sights or a red dot, as you can see, I don't really fully aim out, but some snipers do require you to fully aim out in order to bolt them, and those I do recommend that you run the straight pull bolt or the marksman kit. But guns like the AWS, Remington, the AWM, if you're not running a scope, I don't really recommend the straight pull bolt, but if you are, I do recommend the straight pull bolt. But it depends on the sight you're using. If you really wanted to, you could run no straight pull bolt regardless of what setup you're using, or you can run a straight pull bolt regardless of whatever you're using. Or if you really wanted to like not aim out at all when you bolt your gun, you could run a straight pull bolt even if you're running the iron sights. The only issue is that you do have a little bit less RPM, which is kind of annoying. I just really prefer to have a tiny bit more bolting speed, and it will help you shoot a little bit faster if you're running no straight pull bolt. And of course, you also have remove stock. Now, that's not going to be on a lot of sniper rifles, but the ones it's on, you should probably use it on. Basically like an extra skeleton grip, except it's actually better. It will give you better aiming speed, swap speed, and walk speed. So you'll actually walk faster. So overall, my recommended setup is going to be default scope or irons, heavy barrel, light barrel, or a suppressor, or a muzzle brake. Always skeleton grip in my opinion. Always just run it. It's better handling. Either marksman kit or remove stock, depending on which one you want, or a laser if you don't want either of them. And ammo types are weird. I do have a full video on ranking every single sniper rifle conversion in Phantom Forces. I recommend you check that out because there are way too many conversions for me to talk about in this video. But I actually talked about that in a different video. If you just want to know the pros and cons of every sniper rifle conversion, because there are a bunch, they all do kind of different stuff. So now we're going to move on to a different part of this video, and that is your playstyle when you're using a sniper rifle, which is extremely aggressive, which is like this kind of sniping, passive, and campy. The aggressive sniping playstyle is not really the best if you're not that great, but it can help you improve at the game, and that's basically pushing every single fight. Basically running a sniper rifle like it's more of a shotgun, where you're going very close range and you're sniping people. And using this playstyle is pretty nice because as long as you're using a one-shot sniper rifle, you don't even have to go for the head. The nice thing about aggressive sniping is that it is still a sniper rifle, so you don't really have a terrible gun for long range like you would with a shotgun. So if you can run an aggressive sniper and still do great in close range, you can actually run it at any range, which is really cool. It basically becomes like the most versatile of any gun in the game. But if you want to have better KD and actually engage people in a way that actually benefits having a sniper rifle, you can have playstyle 2, which is laid back or tactical. And this is going to be the playstyle that is the most balanced and will give you good KD and still pretty good kills. And this is more of taking a position and holding it down, but not like fully holding it down. You're not really camping or anything, but you're getting close to where you can actually get quite a few kills. As you can see here, I'm near the spawn. I'm not really in the back of the map right now, and I'm watching quite a few angles. I'm watching this angle, this angle, this angle, that angle. There's a lot of different places that I could be sniping people right now, and as you can see, I'm not seeing anybody. So I'm going to push up a little bit and probably die because of this, and there's a guy behind me. What? Okay. This kind of playstyle is basically like the aggressive playstyle, but you're not going to be getting as close. And that will make actually sniping a bit more bearable if you're not somebody who's really that great for close range, because most of your fights are going to happen within medium range. You're not going to be like 1 foot away from people. You're also not going to be like 300 studs away, except in that case, that was 264. But since you're playing tactically, you're probably not going to push this kind of fight where there's going to be people like right next to you. This is more of a support type playstyle, and it really benefits your team more than it benefits you as much, but you do get good KD and good kills as well. So it's like kind of a balanced way to play the game. You also want to use like actual cover when you're playing this kind of playstyle, because people will try to counter snipe you and you're going to be killing people without just immediately getting killed. But then we have the final playstyle, which will definitely get you the fewest kills possible of any of these strategies. However, you will have the best KD, and that's called hardcore camping. I don't really recommend this playstyle. I kind of recommend playstyle number 2, more just helpful sniper. If you're camping, yeah, I guess you're getting like 2 kills for your team. The camper is going to be this kind of guy. He's just going to sit up here in prone. If you're camping, luckily, the main thing that you're probably going to get in terms of bonuses is you're going to get some pretty far kills basically every time. As you can see, that was a plus 75 for killed from a distance. That was another one. And people who are camping that hard, you got to keep in mind that you might not get amazing KD because people will want to counter snipe you like never before. If you're out here, people will be constantly sniping you. The camping experience is actually more difficult than you'd expect because people hate camping in this game to the point where like the second you're camping, you are so dead. Because if you kill any person, as you can see, Hecate duel, you lose. I don't really recommend camping too much. I don't think it's that like effective. You definitely get kills and your KD is definitely like pretty good. People just hate it so much that you're just not going to do that great, you know? So I don't really recommend it that much. I'm just up here chilling. The second somebody sees me though, or I kill somebody who has a sniper rifle, they're going to want to counter snipe me because they know that I'm up here and that I'm trying to just sit in one spot. So I'm going to get suppressed by like the first guy that I kill who has a 50 cal. I'll go over quickly each individual advantage of the sniper rifles in this game. Intervention is great for the torso killing range and velocity. Remington is overall really good at everything. SVU is fast, but it doesn't do great damage. AWS is suppressed, fast, and it can torso kill. The BFG is really powerful, but only has 1 bullet. AWM is kind of like an AWS, but a little bit less RPM. And only 5 bullets, but it can one-shot a little bit more. The TRG is great because it can limb kill, and it has pretty fast velocity as well. Mosin is fast, but it can't torso kill. The SVDS has 10 bullets, and it's semi-automatic. M1903 has great velocity, pen, pretty fast RPM, and a pretty good torso killing range. K14 has 10 bullets, it can fire fast, and it has a pretty good torso killing range. Hecate can one-shot torso at any range, but it's kind of slow. FT300 is kind of it does have 10 bullets with marksman kit, and the torso kill range is pretty good. M107 is really fast, and it can one-shot torso over range. The Steyr Scout is extremely fast and has very little recoil, and it can one-shot to the head, but nowhere else. The WAT 2000 has really fast RPM, and it can one-shot torso, and the NTW is just really powerful. So overall, what I do recommend is you find a sniper rifle that has what you want from a sniper, and if you don't really know too much on what you want, use the M1903, the AWM, or the SVDS, because all 3 of those are pretty good at everything. The Remington 700 also has that ability to just kind of be good at everything. But let's get on to some tips. So first off, controlling for drop is kind of weird. And at first, I don't really recommend that you always go for like super far above the head, because surprisingly, headshotting in this game is actually not too bad. Like you can hit a headshot from pretty much any range without aiming too high. So what I recommend for beginners is basically aim for the head, don't aim any higher, and start to move a little bit higher over time. And keep in mind that every sniper in this game has like differing velocities. You can never really tell exactly what you're going to get for your velocity from your gun. Most of the sniper rifles, except for like a few conversions, have really quick velocity, so you're not really going to notice a lot of drop anyway. So don't really like get super scared about, oh no, I might not hit the headshot. And the next tip is basically the last bullet in your sniper rifle should be cosmetic. It should not be a bullet you ever use. And that's because empty reloading a sniper rifle with the bolting at the end is significantly more difficult than just reloading normally, because it takes like 1.2 seconds longer in some cases. So if you fire that last bullet, you'll catch yourself reloading a lot longer and probably die because of that. So I don't really recommend that. Okay. Next tip is straight pull bolt. You should not be using a straight pull bolt to make your gun a DMR. Every time you snipe, you should be aiming out. Even if you have straight pull bolt and you're like, well, why would I aim out? Well, straight pull bolt does help you if you're aiming out, because it continues to bolt when you aim out. So you can get a little bit better RPM even if you're still aiming out. However, a lot of people get tricked into basically using their sniper rifle for like 3 or 4 shots while still aimed in, which is dumb. You're gonna get shot by somebody else if you're just continuously aimed in, you know? My next tip is pretty simple. If you're using a secondary, for close range, use a machine pistol or a revolver or just anything that can really easily kill people. And that's the best course of action if you're trying to snipe in close range. If you're in medium range, I do recommend something like a semi-auto pistol. For example, the Glock 17 is going to be possibly the best sniping pistol. And you're probably confused because like it doesn't really work for sniping, right? It does pretty awful damage over range. Well, you hit a limb shot and somebody's at, 20 health maybe. It means that if you hit a torso shot or a limb shot over range, you can also shoot the guy once or twice with the Glock 17 and kill them. And it's also like a pretty good secondary for close range as well, because, it does pretty good damage, fires pretty quickly. I mean, it's a pretty good secondary. I do still recommend a machine pistol for close range because you're using a sniper rifle, you know, you don't really want to have to worry about clicking quickly with a secondary. Next up, we have my overall tips for just like improving your aim. Using an aim trainer does help. Going for headshots does help. But the main things that you should probably be worrying about when you're sniping in this game is actually accounting for people moving, because the drop isn't too bad, but velocity can screw up your aim, even if you're looking directly at a guy because he's moving. And the other thing is, of course, what optic you're using. A lot of people just want to use like a 40x because they're like, okay, 40x, that means like 40 times the accuracy on my gun, right? And other people are like, okay, coyote sight, because then I can use it in close range. A lot of the time, I can't even run coyote sight. I just miss every shot. And a lot of time, I can't use a high zoom optic. So it really depends on which sniper rifle you're using, how you're feeling that particular day even. So try out the irons, try out the scope, and then try out like Delta, coyote sight, and ACOG, and see which one you like. Because most of my sniper rifles are using a different optic. You know, I'm using the scope on them with iron sights or coyote sight or an ACOG. It depends on the gun, and it really depends on how I feel that day. Like, I will switch my optic constantly on some snipers. Over time, you'll figure out how to do it better. Aiming in front of a guy is going to help, but it really depends on how far they are, the velocity of your sniper rifle, and just a bunch of other stuff. So take out the Remington, take out the intervention, figure an optic out that you really like on them. I hope this helped, but if you guys did enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Have a nice day.